following sources were used in formulating the scientific consensus on the definition of scientific method, or in other words, the scientific process to determine whether or not a theory has any scientific value. Although scientific method is defined with some minor variations depending upon which science book you are reading, basically all credible science method books outline the following as the correct way to determine whether or not something has true scientific value. Number 1, state the problem or question. Number 2, form an educated guess or hypothesis. Number 3, test your hypothesis by doing an experiment or studies with proper controls. Number 4, check and interpret your results. Determine whether or not it is falsifiable. Number 5, report your results to the scientific community. Number 6, retest your results with scientific peer review. So what does the theory of evolution tell us about its science? Number 1, we are told that everything came from nothing about 14 billion years ago, and that the universe and our solar system came out of this explosion of nothing about 4.5 billion years ago. It is impossible to prove this or disprove this hypothesis. There is as much scientific evidence against this theory as there is for it. It is an interesting theory, but it is not scientific by the definition of science. Number 2, we are told that everything, living and non-living, came originally from non-living matter, accidentally, billions of years ago. Once and only once, in all of history and of time, did this thing happen. It was unobserved, never repeated, and never to be repeated again. It is not provable, it is not disprovable, and it has never been observed. This, too, is not scientific. Number 3, we are told that man eventually evolved from the first 2 speculative theories of origins. Our nearest kin on the evolutionary chart is the chimpanzee. Yet the latest DNA evidence says monkeys have always been monkeys and man has always been man. There is not one piece of fossil evidence to conclusively and scientifically make the conclusion that man definitively evolved from chimpanzees. There are no verifiable monkey man skeletons, and there are no monkey men living today. Yet chimpanzees and men do exist today as 2 similar but entirely different kinds of animals, separated by DNA information and gametic isolation. Again, this speculation of human origins is not scientific. Number 4, we are told that the fossil evidence is proof of evolution. But by Darwin's own admission and by modern evolution's own admission, even recently with the discovery of Ida, evolutionists have been on a continual and frenzied quest for the missing link, a fossil or fossils that would provide definitive, indisputable evidence that man or anything living has truly evolved from another kind of lower life form. After 150 years of looking, there is no such evidence. Instead, there is a trail of fraud, deceit, embarrassing mistakes, and out-and-out silly assumptions superimposed upon the pre-existing assumption of the correctness of evolution theory. There are a plethora of websites documenting renowned scientists and even paleontologists around the world who confirm that no such evolutionary fossil missing link actually exists. The latest, greatest discovery is that of Ida, the lemur skeleton that has been declared by its discoverers as the, quote, final vindication of evolution. But alas, even it has already been debunked by peer review of many other evolutionists. There is not one iota of purely scientific evidence that this animal is even remotely related to man. It is not scientific. So what is scientific? What do we know about our natural world? What is observable, demonstratable, repeatable, documented, falsifiable about the natural world that we live in and human origins? Number 1, there are several million different species and kinds of living things on planet Earth. We are continually discovering new species that were previously unknown to us. All of these species and kinds are separated by DNA differentiations. Although we do observe microevolutionary changes within species, we have no scientific evidence that one kind of living thing ever becomes another kind of living thing. Number 2, while DNA among many living things is similar, it is not the same between different kinds. Gametic isolation prevents interbreeding between kinds. There appear to be genetic locks between kinds of living things. One kind of living thing has never been observed to become another kind of living thing. The best DNA evidence we have thus far seems to indicate that each kind of living thing has always been that particular kind of living thing. Number 3, While we have over 250 million specimens of different fossils, we do not yet possess the final vindication of evolutionary theory. We simply do not possess such fossil evidence. For this reason, a lemur skeleton was quickly hailed as a great discovery out of pure desperation. Number 4. No one knows the age of the Earth. There are some 15 to 20 different so-called scientific methods of dating. They all provide very, very different results, some of them differing by multiplied millions of years. Certainly a difference of this magnitude is unacceptable to be deemed scientifically accurate. We simply do not know the age of the Earth from our best scientific measurements. Number 5. We do know that the oldest verifiable artifacts that unarguably, indisputably were produced by man, such as literature, forms of writing, boats, buildings, drawings, tools, etc., we do know that these artifacts are no older than between 5 and 10,000 years. This is documented fact. This we know scientifically. By the way, a literal rendering of the Bible's chronology reveals the same age of mankind on earth as what our purely scientific evidence reveals. Number 6. We do know scientifically, demonstratively, that nothing living can come spontaneously from non-living material unless it is manipulated by an outside intelligent source. Mankind has never observed living material generating from non-living material accidentally. Biogenesis, the fact that life comes only from life, is the antithesis of the anti-science abiogenesis, which is the theory that all of life originated from non-living material accidentally, or in other words, evolution's answer to the origins of life. Number 7. We do know that the pure mathematical statistics of random mutations and unobservable abiogenesis being the generator of all of the many millions of life forms on our planet is statistically and scientifically astronomically improbable, and many scientists say absolutely impossible. It scientifically appears to the reasonable scientific mind that some form of intelligence had to be behind the construct of life as we now know it and understand it. The question remains, just how silly can evolution get? The answer is, as silly as it is desperate.